There you go. This time on Mazcaddy, I'm working on the Falcon. Got an assortment of tools out, got the car jacked up, got the wheel off, and I am replacing the axle seal on the diff housing. So I'm just going to do a quick little video on what you're going to need to do to get that sucker out. Alright, so jack the car up, put it on stands. Always put your car on stands, because if this thing falls on you, you're dead. Once you've got the wheel off, take the back seat out and undo that clip there. That's for your ABS sensor. Push the little grommet through the floor. Come through here, undo those plastic retaining clips, one there, and then just leave the cord hanging loose. There's a 36mm nut in the middle. Need a big boy socket, big deep one. Take that off. Take the brake caliper off. They're 15mm. 15mm nuts. These nuts, bolts. Take them off. Get yourself a cable tie and hang the caliper up there with the cable tie so that you don't put any stress on the rubber hose. Remove the handbrake cable from the back, which is just down there. There you go, you can see it. Just get it off that little locator lug, and you've got to take it all the way out of the sleeve, so you pull that little circlip out and pull that through. Next is lower shock. That's an 18mm. Just remove the lower bolt. Control blades and control arms are a combination of 15s and 18mm. And the spring perch, the opposite side of this one, is a 21. And yeah, that's pretty much all you need to undo. Get to it. I've got an assortment of hammers. We've got a rubber hammer for being friendly, and a little yellow one there just for lightweight jobs, and then the red ones in case being friendly isn't working. Get some penetrating spray of any kind. This is just some crap I had lying around in the shed. The paint marker. Mark your camber bolt before you pull it apart, otherwise you'll be off to the wheel aligners. As I said, cable ties, an assortment of 15, 18 and 21mm sockets with the 36mm big boy. Side cutters to cut your cable ties when you're finished. A little pokey stick for poking things, and some assorted hand tools for getting the oil seal out and generally stabbing things, hopefully not your hands. I also keep myself a spare jack so that when I'm putting this all back together I can support the weight of it with the jack, so I'm not wrestling with it too much. And that should be about all you need to get it undone. It's the new seal. It's a Cobra. That's the new one there. That's going to be the outer face. That goes to the inside of the diff. And coincidentally, the 36mm socket that you're using to take that nut off the axle is a perfect size to push this back in. Mine wasn't too hard to push back in on the other side. I just gave a little bit of love, shoved it on home. No lube required. Right, so axle's out. There are all the components, and see what I mean about hanging the caliper up. You can leave all the other bits and bobs in. And that's what we're aiming for in there. This side isn't as bad as the driver's side, but you know, you're never going to do one on its own. Axle's got a little spring clip in it, so that just compresses when you give it a good yank to pull it out. And when you do pull it out, more than likely the outside hub is going to be quite heavily corroded like this, so they tend to get stuck, and that's where the not so friendly hammer comes in handy. We'll just spray a heap of penetrating oil or whatever you're using in the spline from the outside. Give it a little while. I spray it as soon as I take the nut off, give it a bit of time to soak, and then yeah, you're pretty much guaranteed you're going to be yanking this whole unit out with the axle attached to it because of that corrosion. But yeah, a bit more of a spray, a little bit of a persuasion from our friend, and she pops. Oh, I tell ya, after about 10 minutes of Struggle Town, population me, improvised tools of course, I got that bloody seal out. I don't have a seal puller, but I've got hooks and lots of skin. I could lose a little bit, but yeah, that looks a lot worse than it did when it was in the car. That's my fault, but it's out, and now we get the new one in. You remember I was saying about the 36mm socket that would fit perfectly on it? Oh, I'll tell ya, better than I bought one. So I'm gonna put the seal in by hand, and then once it's sort of got a bite, I'm gonna drive it home with that big boy. Alright, that's the new one in. Just pushed in. You pretty much can do it by hand. You don't need any wanky tools or anything to push it in. Just get it started. Grab that socket. Make sure it's central. Grab a hold of your sway bar, and with your right hand start driving that bastard in, and happy days. Hopefully no more oil leaks out of the diff. Just something else I thought I'd mention that I do. Give the axles the splines. Think of it, Heath. Get the splines a little bit of a grease up so that you don't have that problem if you have to take it off again. And I've just got the axle suspended by the control arm with a couple of cable ties. If you put it in, it just wants to drop straight down, and it's actually a bit of a pain. It's already a pain to put that bloody thing back on without the axle doing whatever it wants to do. So just suspend it there with the cable ties, and it's sort of in the right location. It makes it just a little bit easier to get that thing back on. So seals in, axles in, lubed up. Let's put it back together. Alright, that wasn't as easy as the driver's side, I'll admit. Mostly getting that one to line up and go back in its location. The little joint, I've had a mental blank. The bush. The bush didn't line up very well, so I had to back it off back there and take that one out and back them off, and I don't know that there's a particular order that they should all be put back together, but yeah, bit of trial and error. But anyway, it's in. Last thing I am going to do before I put the caliper on is just give the rotor a wipe over with some wax and grease remover, or brake clean if you've got it, just so there's no grubby handprints affecting the brake pads. And yeah, put the wheels back on, plug in the ABS sensor, job's done. And tomorrow I'll be out here topping up the diff. Bit late in the arvo to be doing it now, so I'm going to tackle that tomorrow. Alright guys, thank you very much. Goodbye.
Wow!